Hello and welcome to the beautiful Bailey Center Auditorium on the grounds of Wallace State College in Hanceville. Thank you to our gracious host, Wallace State College and Dr. Vicki Karlowicz. The 2025 Tribune Debate Series and Question and Answer Forums continues today with the municipal elections, more specifically Cullman City Council. These events are designed to give the public more unfiltered answers without the questions ahead of time, direct comparisons, and meaningful conversation. Today, we will continue with Cullman City Council Place 2, Place 3, and Place 5. But now we move on to Place 2 with David Moss and Pete Nacetta. The Tribune works diligently to contact every candidate, and we would like to thank you both for showing up today for this debate. And now for the rules for the candidates. With all that being said, no electronic devices permitted unless completely turned off. Questions alternate, so no candidate always answers first or last more than the other. Opening statement is limited to 60 seconds, and it may be a prepared statement. Time allotted per question will be 2 minutes. A closing statement is limited to 90 seconds and must be spoken without notes. One rebuttal per question, but only if a candidate calls out the other, and that is set for 45 seconds. Facts only, no accusations without proof. This will only allocate additional time to your opponent. Voters deserve substance over slogans, so let's begin. We will start with our opening statements with David Moss.
Good afternoon. I'm David Moss Jr., running for City Council Place 2. I currently serve in that position, and it has been an honor to serve. I love Cullman, and I'm very proud of what we've accomplished in recent years. I believe Cullman is in a really good place right now, and I want to continue to build on our recent successes. I said in a recent post that it wasn't too long ago that many of our young people left Cullman after high school looking for opportunities and a more enticing quality of life. Well, a lot's changed since I was in school. That was kind of the mentality back then. Today, I love that my children and so many of their friends and peers have chosen Cullman as the place they want to live and raise their families. I think if you compare Cullman with other communities in Alabama or really anywhere, however you measure success, Cullman compares very favorably. I feel like we're winning, we're succeeding, and I want to continue being part of that and helping that move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your opening statement. And Mr. Nacetta, you have 60 seconds for your opening statement, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Wallace State for allowing us to use this beautiful facility. My name is Pete Nacetta. I was educated at St. Bernard College when it was a 4-year college, got a BA in education. I went on to teach in the Cullman City School System, 1 year at the middle school, 4 years at the high school. During my time at the high school, I was the Key Club advisor and sponsor. In 1983, with Mike Burke, Jim Miller, and myself, we founded St. Bernard Prep School. And that's probably one of the crowning achievements in my life. It gives me great satisfaction to see the young people that have gone through that institution and continue to. There are 49 brand new students at that school this year, so it's thriving. Most of my career was spent in public works. I was 16 years with the City of Cullman as Director of Public Works. Under that umbrella, I was responsible for water, sewer, wastewater, sanitation, street department, and the city garage.
That will be fun. Thank you. Whenever we go over time, I will just say time and we'll just stop. All right. And we will start the questions with David. This is on vision. Where do you want Cullman to be in 10 years, and how does your role as a council member fit into that vision?
Okay, so vision. So I think that's actually one of the most important things that we do as a city council is we help set the vision. I think We've seen a lot of good developments in recent years. I still think of Cullman as a small town values, but a lot going on. I know you hear a lot about growth. The growth as far as population is not going to grow forever for the reasons of the size. So I wanted to remain that small town feel with a vibrant economy and a very high quality of life. And I think that's where we are now. I think we can build on that. I don't want that to change.
All right, thank you, sir, for your answer. And Pete, same question regarding vision. Where do you want Cullman to be in 10 years, and how does your role as council member fit into that vision?
We all see the growth in Cullman now. It's really, I heard just recently that Cullman is the 10th fastest growing city in Alabama. And I believe it. I mean, we all see the growth. We go to a restaurant, we go to Cracker Barrel, we go to Walmart, and it used to be we'd visit back and forth from table to table, and now we come out and we say we didn't see anybody we knew. So we know that the city is growing rapidly. But in 10 years, I would hope that, we just saw the annexation request for the Smith Lake project. At the rate Cullman is growing, I don't know that we will continue to try to annex properties to allow that growth to continue. A lot of people say we want a moratorium on growth. We need to let our utilities catch up, our streets. But I can remember years ago when we built out Eva Road, there was nothing out there. The Eva Road was all you had to come into the city. The bypass wasn't there. And when you see what has transpired in that area with that growth, I think we will continue to grow. But as a member of the council, I would hope that we can do it sensibly and in a way that, we can continue to make Cullman a place where people want to come.
Thank you, sir, for your response. And Pete, we'll stay with you on the second question regarding partnerships. How would you improve coordination between the city, county, and state governments to solve problems like housing and traffic?
I'm sorry, am I first?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When I was Public Works Director, and you're going to hear that a lot, I'm sorry, you'll hear it ad nauseum because that's what I hang my hat on. That's my strong suit. I was Public Works Director 16 years, and in that time, I had a very strong working relationship with the Department of Transportation. I think that's lacking right now. There are times when I think that it may be an adversarial relationship. Going back to when the barriers were put in on 278, that was like hitting a beehive with a ball bat. And I understand that the city was not even notified when the state came in and did that. We have 3 major highways that crisscross through this city, 278, 31, and 157. If we don't have an open dialogue with the state controls the traffic lights, the state controls everything on the state right-of-way. But if we don't have an open dialogue and a very strong relationship, we're not going to be able to handle the traffic problems. We're not going to be able to move forward in any way without that relationship. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. And David, same question on partnerships. How would you improve coordination between the city, county, and state governments to solve problems like housing and traffic?
Okay, so first of all, I would disagree that we don't have a good working relationship with the state. I think we actually have an excellent working relationship with the state. We work with the state very closely on lots of projects. The governor's been up here herself multiple times in the last year, so I think we're very well positioned with the state to achieve a lot of our goals. We do need to work closer with the county. There's always seems to be this mentality that what's good for the county is not good for the city, what's good for the city is not good for the county, and I totally disagree with that. And we've made efforts, and I think we need to make more efforts. Recently, obviously, we worked together on the landfill project, which was a huge success. We worked together at the airport, which is also a huge success and is going to be an even bigger successes in the future. But we need to find other things that we can work on, obviously roads, and we need to share a common vision and quit looking at each other as competitors and more as teammates, and I think that can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response, and we'll stay with you for this next question regarding housing. Cullman's housing costs are rising. What's your position on affordable housing projects or incentives?
That's a great question. So you're right, Cullman's housing costs are rising. My daughter, who's here, she's buying a new house. It's a very nice house, but the price that houses cost today versus what they were 10 years ago is just amazing. And I think about these young families. I think about families that are, just starting out or working here in the plants. And so this was kind of brought to our attention when we did our 5-year plan back in 2020, I believe, or 2019. So we have put emphasis on trying to work with and encourage more starter level houses being built. I know there's been some pushback on that, but there was such a need for it. We've addressed that, and you can see some of the developments around the outskirts of town and in town. I think the next focus will be on the mid-range housing, but it's a challenge, and we're addressing it.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. And Pete, we'll go with you on this question, housing. Cullman's housing costs are rising. What's your position on affordable housing projects or incentives?
That is a difficult topic. My wife and I experienced a situation 3 or 4 years ago where we had an opportunity to sell our house. And we started looking around for somewhere to move to, had a great offer, but we couldn't find a house that was affordable, that we felt like we could budget, or the house was going to be needing $100,000, $150,000 worth of renovation to get what we wanted. So we turned the offer down, we stayed where we are. Again, like David said, I feel for young couples. We've seen a surge of young people moving back home with children. And, we don't want that to continue. The development that was so contentious on the south end of town, that was a very difficult situation. And I don't know what's right or wrong, but I probably would have sided with not allowing that to move forward because of the problems that have arisen from it. The drainage problems, the traffic problems. We have to tackle it somehow. But housing is something that everybody's going to have. And, Madison, Hanceville, they're doing huge developments of apartments. I mean, you see them popping up everywhere. I don't know that we can do that in Cullman and have our infrastructure maintain that growth. So it's going to be a very difficult balance. But I think we'll tackle it.
May I respond?
Yes, sir. Regarding the sewer and maintenance on the south side is?
No one regarding not wanting young people moving back to Cullman.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so not sure I understood what Mr. Niceta said, but I thought he said he didn't want to see young people and their families continuing to move back to Cullman.
No. To move home with parents.
To move home with parents, okay.
Right.
All right, thank you.
That was clarified. Mr. Niceta, was that clarified on your part?
I'm sorry.
That it was to move back home in with their parents, right. Is that correct? Okay, so that's where that comment was going. All right. Pete, we will stay with you on this next question, and it involves downtown and neighborhoods. What specific policies would you implement to keep downtown Cullman thriving while also supporting neighborhoods outside the city center?
Obviously, Cullman is in a unique situation. You can go in most other cities and see vacant stores and properties downtown that are not being utilized. Cullman doesn't have that problem. I would like to see more loft apartments. I think my wife and I would maybe choose that option ourselves if it presented itself. Cullman has a unique situation where we have the vibrant downtown. Years ago, I say years, 4 or 5 years ago, it seemed like there was a proposal afoot that maybe a mixed-use development was going to go in on 157 by Walmart. Kind of like I can't remember the name of the area in Hanceville. I would like to see more of those things. Mixed-use development with retail, residential, and continue to put those around the downtown area. We have a wonderful downtown. Chuck mentioned something about the streetscapes, and I share that view. Colonel Cullman developed the city with wide streets, and now we're necking them down and putting jogs in them and planters. It is beautiful, but I think it's impeding the traffic flow, and we can't do that with the gridlock we have now. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response. And David, same question on downtown and neighborhoods. What specific policies would you implement to keep downtown Cullman thriving while also supporting neighborhoods outside the city center?
Okay. So regarding downtown, I think one of the things that makes Cullman special and desirable for all ages, but young people, is the downtown and the way it's transformed really since the tornado, since that whole program was launched. I kind of want to address what he just mentioned and what Chuck mentioned. The planners, the development by the Cotton Creek area and also over by City Hall and the Depot Park area. That was done for multiple reasons, to add parking for these downtown areas and to make these areas more walkable. So I agree that, you know, Colonel Cullman's vision with the wide streets throughout our neighborhoods and throughout our towns works well in some areas, but it doesn't when you're trying to encourage walkability, events at night. You don't want people driving 40 miles an hour. So that was done purposely to slow traffic down on those few streets and also to increase parking and also to make it more attractive. And I think it's when it's complete, it's going to look really good. As far as I think that, you know, any town you go to that doesn't have a really attractive, active downtown, I think it has two strikes against it. I think the center of our city is key, but I think the surrounding neighborhoods will be fine. They want the privacy. They want to be away from downtown, and I think it's a good plan. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response, and we'll stay with you for this next question involving youth and schools. How can city government better support young families and students without overlapping the responsibilities of the school board?
Okay, another great question. So what is City Council's role with schools? We have a great school board that acts totally independently. Our role is to support them financially. And we've done that. We do it two ways. With the school expansion project now, we committed $6 million over a 10-year period to help with the building of the new schools. And you can see if you drive by the middle school and by West Elementary, there's a lot going on. So we're contributing there. More importantly, every decision we make that helps grow the economy in Cullman adds tax dollars that go to the schools. So the tax base that is supporting our schools has increased because of the city's success. And that's the role we play as far as supporting the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response. Pete, same question, youth and schools. How can city government better support young families and students without overlapping the responsibilities of the school board?
Well, I think, of course, again, Cullman has some of the best schools in the state. We've always done a good job with providing the physical plants, the baseball fields, the football fields, the addition of the band rooms, all the things that are added to the schools. And I think that is a responsibility of the city council to help in any way. I can tell you from the time I was Public Works Director that we had crews, and that has continued to this day. There are many times the street department almost looks like an employee of the school board, because they're paving streets at the school, they're doing drainage problems at the school, they're doing all kinds of things. That's work in kind. That's not charged to the school, but I'm sure we're glad to do it. I'm not part of the council, and I can't speak for them. But as Public Works Director, I know we were always Johnny on the spot to help any school that was in need. And I think we would continue to do that.
Thank you, sir, for your response. And Pete, we will stay with you on this next question involving ethics and influence. Have you received support from political groups, PACs, or other candidates running in different places? If so, how will you remain independent in your decisions?
That's an easy one for me to answer. From day one, when I entered this campaign, I said I would not ask for $1. I was primarily going to self-fund my campaign. To this point, I have spent $2,300 on my campaign. I have not received a dime from any PAC. The money I did receive was unsolicited donations. So, you know, it's always been my feeling that when you run for office and you solicit contributions, they don't come free. Those people are going to be looking for something in return. And when I see the thousands and thousands of dollars that candidates are accepting, it doesn't come free. They're going to want a favor. They're going to want something in return. And from day one, I said I would not do that, and I haven't.
Thank you, sir, for your answer. And David, we will move to you. Same question, ethics and influence. Have you received support from political groups, PACs, or other candidates running in different places? If so, how will you remain independent in your decisions?
So that's also an easy question for me to answer. The answer is no. I have not received any money from PACs, special interest groups, other candidates. And same thing, I have not never solicited any donations. I have been offered donations and accepted donations from a few supporters. I've also turned down donations if I thought the person offering would want something down the road. So any donation that I've ever received, which I've self-funded, certainly part of my campaign as well, the people that have donated have done it because they have confidence in me and they trust me, but not because they expect anything special from me down the road. I feel confident of that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response. And we'll stay with you on this next question regarding motivation and group dynamics. Every candidate has a reason for stepping forward. Did you feel pushed to run because of dissatisfaction with incumbents, encouragement from others, or a sense of joining a broader challenger effort?
That's a great question as well, because I've actually said that many times. I feel like if you run for office and initially I was appointed, but if you accept an appointment or run, you do it for one of two reasons. Either you're not happy with the way things are and you feel like you can do it better or make a difference, and that's a valid reason to run for office, or you are very happy with the way things are and you feel a sense to serve and you want to be part of that team. And in my case, it was the second. When I was offered the opportunity to step in for Garland when he became senator, and as I've run for office since then, it's because I feel like Cullman's in a great place. We have a great team. I want to do my part and serve, and so that's my motivation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response. And Pete, same question. Motivation and group dynamics. Every candidate has a reason for stepping forward. Did you feel pushed to run because of dissatisfaction with incumbents, encouragement from others, or a sense of joining a broader challenger effort?
I've said this jokingly a lot during the campaign, but I said I missed my appointment for psychiatric evaluation, so I'm just going to keep doing silly things. But I tell you, my motivation for running for council, the 16 years that I've been retired from the city, I constantly see things that are not being tended to. And I would ride through town, my wife would be with me, and she said, "Let it go, you don't work there anymore." I said, "I know, but I see it, and it's not being done." And it's kind of like put up or shut up, so I waited till the very last day, sorry, David, but I waited till the last day to qualify. And I said, I just need to do this because I love the city of Cullman. My job as Public Works Director was very fulfilling, and the people that I worked with were not only co-workers, but they were friends. And I wanted to get back into that arena and see if I could make a difference.
Thank you, sir, for your response. And Pete, we will stay with you on this next question regarding business incentives. Where do you draw the line between supporting local business growth and giving away too much in tax breaks or incentives?
Well, I think people kind of have some angst about that when they read in the paper about some big industry that got this big tax abatement. Of course, they always say that that excludes school taxes. And I know a lot of industry does get a lot of incentives to locate here, to expand their industry. But I would like to see more done with the local businesses, the mom and pops, the downtown stores. When I was growing up in my town, the city government, they adopted a program of facade renovations. And this was the entire downtown area. It was a massive project. And they had to go and get all the business people to buy into it. Now, the city did chip in. They helped tremendously with it. But it was a win-win. The city, the storefronts looked amazing. The people's business grew. Now, there was some, inconvenience, of course, while the work was going on. And some people had to be really coerced to get on board. I'd like to see us do something more like that in Cullman. And maybe it's been done or in the works, but I think we need to help our local business people as much as the industrial prospects.
Thank you, sir, for your response. David, we'll move to you. Same question, business incentives. Where do you draw the line between supporting local business growth and giving away too much in tax breaks or incentives?
Okay, so tax incentives is a topic, so let's think about it for a second. So you have, if you're talking about industrial, trying to get an industry to come here, these are tools that we use and we get asked to use on a regular basis. If you're talking about industry where you're competing with other towns, other states, and somebody's going to get the project and somebody's not, then you have certain sets of circumstances there that you have to look at. But when you're talking about retail or business incentives or even housing development incentives, we get approached a lot about that. And so what we look at is, number one, how much are they asking for? What's the cost? How many jobs is it going to create? What type of jobs is it going to create? Because right now we don't have a big need for low-paying jobs. What competitors or what local businesses is it going to compete with? What is the long-term tax benefit as far as revenue once this is passed, and is it feasible? And you'd be surprised to know that we turn down more of these opportunities than we participate in. It has to be the right project. It has to bring something that adds value to our city. It has to create jobs that are good jobs or meaningful jobs, and it has to check all the boxes before we'll consider something like that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response, and we will stay with you for this next question regarding long-term projects. Which long-term capital project, such as new parks, utility upgrades, or major road work, should take top priority during your term?
Okay, so that's a pretty easy one right now. The number one project on the table right now is the St. Bernard Bridge and the widening of 278. We've heard a lot of talk about traffic. We talk about development on the east side of town. This project's been in the works for really since I got on the council. It takes a long time to secure funding, to get everything lined up, to secure the land, to make things like this happen. And we were close enough that an announcement was made last fall that, you know, we were ready to move forward, and then things changed when the administration changed. But we're close again to getting that off the ground, and that's going to be a huge, huge project and a very beneficial product for our city. That's the number one. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response. And Pete, same question, long-term projects. Which long-term capital project, such as new parks, utility upgrades, or major road work, should take top priority during your term?
I agree with David on the 278 project and the St. Bernard Bridge. That is way overdue. It's a dangerous, dangerous place for students to be coming out of St. Bernard, for tourists to be coming out. It's one of the top tourist attractions in the state. So that is definitely, should be a priority, and I know this council is working on it. When I was director years ago, I was involved in the 278 West widening project. And I was involved in all of the plans review meetings for that project. It was a 1.7 mile project, $17 million. And whenever I would go to Gunnersville for the plans review meetings, I would talk with the guys over there after the meeting, and I'd say, you know, David just mentioned it. You have a new governor, you have a change in administration, funding falls through. So I know these things take time. It takes a long time to put a road project together or anything like that. So I know how it happens. And the guys over there said, well, we just put that on the shelf and go to the next one. So I'm glad we got 278 West done. I hope we'll get 278 East done. But one thing I regret that we did not do in this community was do the southern bypass 50 years ago. Again, David said it, you know, you have to acquire, you have to do land acquisition, you know, secure the funding and all that. That project was proposed 50 years ago. Now, I don't know if we could do it. It was supposed to hook around and come back into 278 East. I don't know if that exists now, if that possibility is still there. But we've got to work on the traffic issue. I can tell you, if you don't have to be a traffic engineer to see the problem downtown. That's why I said you have to have a good relationship with the DOT. If you stand on the corner of 278 and 31, that light is red. If you go to 4th Street, one block back, the light is green. They can't move.
Thank you, sir.
May I respond?
Yes, sir.
I'd like to respond regarding the suggestion of the southern bypass. And I'm glad you said it was a 50-year-old idea, because I've heard it thrown around that this is a fresh idea. It's not a fresh idea. And it is an idea that's been tossed around for years. There is no plan in place, but I did look into it and ask some questions. The problem with that, we just completed the 157 bypass, which diverts the traffic around Cullman. It's supposed to go to the interstate. You got to weigh the benefits versus the cost. So to do it and do it right, you would have to acquire a lot of land, millions of dollars worth, and the ballpark estimated cost of building something like that is around $150 million. Thank you.
All right. And Pete, we'll go back to you, and this is regarding crisis leadership. When Cullman faces a natural disaster, pandemic, or power outage, what role should a council member take, and how have you prepared for that responsibility?
We had numerous issues when I was Public Works Director. We had tornadoes that we had to clean up after. I think as a director, I think we handled that very well under extreme pressure. At the time, the chicken plant on the south end of town was vacant, and we had our trucks hauling debris to that location, and we got a little creative with it. We didn't want to burn, we didn't want to take it to the landfill, so we dumped it there, and we allowed people to come and cut firewood as long as they came to City Hall and signed a release. And then it ended up we had to start burning it, but we handled that problem well. When our water supply was in jeopardy, the lake was down 25 feet. That's hard to believe, but we were almost out of water in this community, and that was a sure enough crisis. And I think we handled it well. God handled it. He sent the rain, but you know, you just roll with it. You do what you have to do, and as a council member, you support the people you have in the field. You go to your department heads. You have the meetings. You work with EMA. You rally around the people that are trained to do that, and you let them do their job.
Thank you, sir, for your response. David, same question regarding crisis leadership. When Cullman faces a natural disaster, pandemic, or power outage, what role should a council member take, and how have you prepared for that responsibility?
Okay, that's a good question. So obviously, Cullman, we've had our share of crises, whether it's tornadoes or obviously the pandemic, the COVID. So the first and foremost thing is the public safety spends a lot of time preparing, thinking ahead, planning. So you start addressing crisis way before a crisis happens. And our team does an exceptional job of that, so that when things do happen, they're prepared. When you do have a crisis, then obviously we have some of the best leadership, our department heads we're very proud of, and they respond accordingly and very effectively. So I think back to the tornado in 2011, obviously the COVID recently. You know, we partnered with a local industry to provide masks or to allow them to provide masks nationwide. So we've been very responsive on all levels, and I think our job is to support our departments and help them prepare ahead of time. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response. Thank you both for showing up today and answering our questions in this debate. And we are going to go with closing statements. Mr. Nicetta, since Mr. Moss went first on opening statements, we're going to let you go first on closing statements. You have 90 seconds, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate this opportunity to be here and let the people see what we are about, who we are, what our views are. As Director of Public Works for the city, I gained great skills, and I want to bring that back to the city. I was not only director for 16 years in the city, I was president of the Alabama Public Works Association. That group is a statewide group of public works directors, city engineers, engineering consultant companies, traffic and heavy equipment companies. During my tenure as president, we experienced unprecedented success in that organization, the best year it had ever had. As Public Works Director, I also gained skills that I feel like make me the clear choice in this election. I feel like with my skills, my dedication to the job, my education that I've obtained, also have I hold an advanced certificate in public works management from the University of Georgia. I think all these things play into preparing me to serve on the city council. And before I close, I'd like to put in a word for our employees. When I was director, I had a chance to speak to every civic club, every group in town. I would always end my talk by saying, before you call to complain about a city employee, think about they're out there in the winter with ice in their beard, their gloves stuck to the wrench, trying to restore your water. people that work with raw sewage every day, people in the street department that pour concrete when it's 95 degrees. Okay.
Thank you. Mr. Moss, I'll allow 2 minutes for that, so we're going to allow 2 minutes for you. Closing statement.
I'm David Moss, Jr., Cullman City Council Place 2. It's been my honor, real honor, to serve during this current term. Cullman is my home. It's the home to my children and my grandchildren. I feel very proud of where we are as a community right now. I'm excited about where we're headed. I want to be part of that. I think the enthusiasm, the energy, the momentum that we have right now is unprecedented, and I want to continue being part of that. I look forward to serving again if elected, and I ask for your support and your vote next Tuesday. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your response. Thank you, Mr. Moss and Mr. Niceta, both running for City Council Place 2. We appreciate you both coming out today and answering questions from the public and from the Tribune. We would like to thank everyone who attended in our audience, and we would like to thank everyone who watched at home. Again, we would like to say thank you to Dr. Vicki Karlowicz and Wallace State College for allowing us to be here and being such a gracious host during these long series of debates. And with that, this debate is in the books, and we will be back in roughly 15 minutes to get started with Place 3 City Council. Thank you again.